Hey y'all, welcome. Go ahead, like, tag, share, and invite. This is the time where you are going to hear some great conversation in regards to tonight of us life after divorce. And so go ahead and grab your cell phone, get that going so that we can have the conversation. I'm super excited about the fact of my co-host of being able to join us on tonight. The songwriter of this song is Tony Braxton, Gotta Move On. So at some point, after a relationship is all over and done with, you gotta move on. You just can't stay there. You can't stay stuck. You can't remain stuck. And so we get to hear all about it from Shonna Stoot. And so without further ado, I'm going to pause for a moment and allow you guys to see my co-hosts who are coming in as of now. Dr. Daryl Talbert out of Ocala, Florida. What's up,
Hey, daughter. Hey. Glad to be here. Looking forward to the show. It's going to be good. I'm great.
I'm excited about the show tonight as well. Waiting for some more people to get on. I need everybody to like and share so we can get our numbers up because our numbers are pretty much low tonight. And I get trying to say my thing is not showing public, but I hope it ain't set to friends only. It is set to friends only. That's why I said public only my friends. I was wondering who changed my settings. I don't know, but I fixed the shop. I fixed the boo. That's crazy. I've never had that happen. I've never had that happen before. Okay, so we got Shonna on. The number's gonna go up. That's weird. I've never had that happen. So on tonight, we got a great show again. That's probably why the numbers went down because it was most of my friends, but people on our Facebook weren't able to see it. But I've always had my settings set to public. Why tonight? I don't know. But anyway, we're going to carry on. But I'm super excited about the show tonight. We have our co-host, Dr. Daryl Talbert, once again. And then we'll also have our other co-hosts joining us, Alice Bolton and Nate Kennard. And so prayerfully, they'll get in on time. They got to remember we're on Central Standard Time, and they are on the Eastern Standard Time. And so they will be joining us eventually. But I'm so excited about us having this conversation because many of us need to know where we are and how to get past where we are, especially with dealing with relationships, especially with dealing with all kinds of stuff that has been taking place. So I just want to be able to deal with this stuff tonight. Maybe you a person who has not dealt with divorce yet, have never been married, but the panel that's on here tonight, all of us have been married once, probably going on twice. But praise be unto God, we're able to talk about it, and we got some experience. So go ahead, hit that share button, and I'm going to bring in my guest speaker on tonight, author and coach Shonna Stoot. Welcome, Shonna.
Welcome. Thank you for having me. Hello.
Yes, we are so happy for you being on tonight because tonight we will be dealing with it. And this is the very first time we do apologize that we weren't able to get it all popping out at one time. And it's crazy because Shani, normally we have almost 30, 40 people on the live. So that's why I was like, wait a minute, where the folk at tonight? And they probably said, well, she ain't got it on public, but it's all good. So everyone, this is Shonna Stoot. She's an author of 2 amazing books, and she's also a coach, an amazing friend of mine. She's a sister. I met her at a conference on last year, and we so happen to been on the same platform together. And so sometimes us women, most of the time, most of the time, we don't connect with the other individual that is on the show or the platform that we are part of, or whenever we have speaking engagements. But I'm super excited that me and her and I connected. I learned who her BFF was, and then when I found out, oh, that's your BFF, and then we were able to continue to talk and build. And you can have your BFF, but it's always good to build your own relationship, your own friendship with that individual. And I see that she's an outstanding person, and so
Thank
I
you.
am elated on tonight just to have you on, Shonna. And
Thank
here,
you.
our next co-host, we have the Professor Collis Bolton, and we're so happy to have you all the way out of
Hello.
North Carolina. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, looking all greased up and
Talk about it.
I know,
That's that baby oil gel right there.
that baby
That
was saying.
cocoa butter.
And listen, I'm so happy to have you on, Collis, because I want to just salute you. Thank you so much on the show last week for holding it down, and a week before last for holding it down. We took a break last week, but the week before that, thank you for during the
No
storm. And
problem.
I was under the weather, so
No problem. That's what teammates do, right?
yes. Yes. So I'm so happy that you was able to hold it down, and John was happy. He was like, "Oh my gosh, this is just so amazing! This is," and we ended up getting almost 600-700 views from that show, and I thought that was
That's
really
good.
amazing. I said, "See, I told you, John, they could carry it without me.
I wouldn't say all that.
Y'all can't carry. Y'all can't carry
I
it
see you
without."
over there with that kente cloth on, though. I see you.
Listen, I didn't
Coming to America? Coming to America too? What we doing?
Yes,
Okay.
listen, I didn't get to watch the new Coming to America, but I'm gonna watch it.
It's
I
good.
miss Cassandra. She
It's
said she's
good.
glad to see us guys. You guys
Oh,
some people who are
beautiful.
on here, and they are so happy to see all of us. Listen, I got so much information for y'all about the show from last 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks of the show, I had people reaching out to me talking about what happened to the show, what's going on, where's Collins, where's Dr. Talbert, why he's not on the show talking, and what. So tonight, he said he wasn't gonna say anything, but my prayer is that he does have something to say on tonight. Okay,
Give
but
us some wisdom.
yes, yes. So again, I'm going to give you all the opportunity to grab your cell phones once again and hit that share button and like button, because once you like it, it takes the feeds up and people can see it more going flowing on Facebook. So if it's on your page, share it to your page and like it. So when you like it, others can see that we're on. When it's just me sharing it, it's been shared 25 times on my end in my groups. And so I just want y'all to be able to share it on y'all end. And if you have groups that you're part of that are public and they won't ban it, share it and like it. So when you share it, that's why I always tell people, like your own post, like your own videos. That's part of marketing. Like your own stuff, because hit the like button, don't hit the heart. Hit the like, because if you like it, others will see it. I promise you, y'all. I'm learning to teach y'all something. If you like it, others will see it. So
Yeah.
if you like it, others that ain't even your friends will see it. Then next thing you know, they'll get shared. Then next thing you know, somebody started a watch party. And so it builds your numbers, especially if you are a motivational speaker, a minister, a coach. Like your post. Don't heart it. Don't laugh at it. Don't put wow. Put wow in the comments, but don't put wow, like, hearts.
Learn something new.
Only like your comments, like your videos, and that'll give you some more. Larico say, "Let's deal with it. Let's deal with it." So, Shauna, I'm so happy. Let's get into this thing, and we ain't trying to be up here all night. All right. And thank you, Monica. Make sure you like my cousin Monica from North Carolina. Make sure you like it, because I can see when y'all like it, and I can also see when you jump in the conversation. So thank you so much for following directions for me. Thank you. So listen, y'all, again, those of you who was not listening right prior to, we have author, coach, minister, and she doesn't like for me to call her a prophet. but she's very discerning. Let me just say that. Thank you so much on YouTube, Nadine Overton out of South Carolina. Thank you. But we have her with us on today. She is a fearless storyteller, but nobody can tell Shonna's story like Shonna can. And so tonight we want Shonna to be able to talk tonight. And if you guys, I hear a little bit of background. Okay, John, I hear a little bit of feedback. So turn your volumes down either on your cell phone or on your computer. Just turn it down just a little bit because I can hear the feedback. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay. Just that you just turn it down a few notches and so that we can hear. Also, we would like, if you would like to be able to call in on the show and ask Shonna questions, let me make sure I put that in the banner as well. You guys can call in and ask questions on the show, which is really cool that we're able to call in. It's like what they say, a talk show, or you can say what you like to say and all that good stuff. So you can dial in and give us your feedback, comments, and all that great stuff because some people don't even know how to do it. But we'll just do it like that, okay? All right, Shonna, go ahead with talking to us tonight. So tell us about Shonna Stoot. Who are you?
Hello, everyone. Listen, who am I? I am an overcomer. I overcame grief, divorce, depression, suicidal thoughts, homelessness, hopelessness. I even overcame myself. I lost myself. You say life after divorce. I lost myself after divorce. I didn't know who I was. So who I am, an overcomer. If you would have asked me prior, I would have said Christian counselor, life coach, minister, all those are titles, but that is not who you are. Okay? A lot of us get that confused. I was one of them. I had to see a coach and some counseling to identify not only who I am, but my purpose as well. Because many of us know our purpose, but God, you call me, but how do I walk the walk, talk the talk?
Right.
So that's who I am. I'm an empowerment guru because I went through so much. Before I went through divorce, I lost my mom, my best friend, my everything. I'm a PK kid. So there's a lot of pressure on me losing my mom, being the oldest girl, her oldest biological child, then going through divorce after losing my mother. Then I lost my mind. Okay, I wasn't about to lose it. I actually lost my mind where I had to seek a therapist. I had hands laid on me and everything, but that wasn't enough. Okay,
that wasn't working.
It wasn't enough. It was good now, and I believe in the Holy Spirit and laying hands and praying that. But some people need therapy. Okay, I was one of them.
Yeah, definitely.
But I was in denial for so long, and being in the church, and like I said, everything was just on me, and I just, was just like walking around like a zombie, making myself busy so I wouldn't face reality.
Wow.
Yeah.
And a lot of us do that. But
a lot of us do that. It's called being functionally depressed. You know what I'm saying? You can function, but you're still going through depression. Because you have functional crackheads and things like that. You wouldn't know they do drugs because they can still do their 9 to 5 and take care of their kids. But the one sign that lets you know that you functionally depressed is when random days you have random breakdowns and ain't nothing going on different. Like you just gotta have that whole shower cry or that whole that's when you know something ain't right. I'm a little off balance. But
I was driving and had a whole out of body experience. I had to call my dad and say, "Dad, something wrong with me. I'm not okay." Although they was asking me, I'm saying I'm smiling and everything, but really crying in the inside. Just a mask, had that mask on. Yeah. And I called something wrong. Something right, something not right. My head started spinning. I didn't know if I was leaving or coming. And it just got to that point. And I know I'm not the only one. There's so many people that's going through it. That's why my heart and I have a compassion to help other people, empower women, not only empower women, but men and women, period, that's dealing with mental issues. And not even after divorce, but heartbreak, period.
In general, I mean, just to break up from a significant other is still like a divorce to you because you still made a bond with that person. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Your feelings don't know no different. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And most of the time, especially women, when you break up with somebody that you was in a relationship for a long time, you end up stuck. And that man then moved on, or woman then moved on.
Now, Shonna, I'm glad you was talking about that because there's a question in the book that you wrote, When the Soul Cries. And it was a book where a whole bunch of women had came together and they wrote this book. And she got an insert in here. And why did I stay so long? And so before we deal with the life after divorce, before we even get to divorce, why do you think so many men or women stay so long? And I'm going to say this before you say that. I'm going to say this with what she said. She said this in the book. She said, why do we stay in relationships longer than we should? She said, I don't have a sad story to tell. However, my story will be unique to some, but familiar to others. I met the love of my life at the age of 19 at work one day. She was a sophomore in college. I'm paraphrasing. As a flashlight security officer, and he was the supervisor. He walked up to her smiling and said, your coworker told me you like me. And she said, I replied, that's a lie. I could see her trying to see me. I don't even know you, and you are too old, I'm assuming. She said they continued to talk, but they was 11 years apart. So he was very persistent. So long story short, she said he could smooth talk. She said immediately she forgave him because he had some excuse of ignoring her calls for the remainder of the evening. He showed up to her house the next day with a big teddy bear, chocolate, and a rose, and then apologized. She said she immediately forgave him because she was intrigued by his sexy physique, his smile, and smooth talk. She said, I politely declined for the offer for another date, but he continued to pursue me until I said yes. So anyway, she felt like she was winning. She dated for 3 years and finally she got married. But after they got married, everything changed. Right before her eyes. And constantly being lied to, manipulated, controlled, and even deceived. Eventually she started to feel unloved and unwanted. And I knew it was time for a change. So right there, why did you stay so long?
Because I was comfortable in my situation. Although in the beginning, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. This man of God stood me up in front of the whole church and prophesied to me, described my boyfriend at the time before he became my husband to the T, and told me if you don't marry him, if you marry him, he's going to give you an incurable disease. I was like, he needs God. I waited. I'm a church girl. I want kids. I want a family. Everybody have their kids. I'm a virgin. I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do, but I want what I want. He tall, fine, doing what he's supposed to do before he stood me up. That's what they were referring to. The first day he stood me up because he got a ticket and he was angry and upset and didn't show up, didn't call nothing. I don't play that, okay? That's rude and disrespectful. So yeah, I was blocked. No, I don't play that. Gotta set boundaries because people only gonna do what you allow them to do. Okay, thank you. You wonder why you complaining because he been doing it so long. You let him do it. That's the problem. Anyway, so prophesy to me. I did it anyway. After 3 years of dating, I'm like, this the only man that I've been talking to. We got married. And years later, a couple of years in the beginning of the marriage, what was spoken happened. And I was shamed, embarrassed, and didn't tell nobody and still stayed. Why? Because I was comfortable. That's the only man I've been with. I don't want to get a divorce. I'm just going to pray him through. Pray that God change him from being, the verbal and the mental, emotional abuse. Because every time I did something that upset him, the words that came out of his mouth were, you young, dumb, and stupid, and you're immature. You need to grow up. And I'm like, Lord, my mama told me, whatever you do, don't let a man see you cry. You go to the bathroom or go outside and you cry to the Lord, the creator, about the creature. And that's what I
did. What you got, Collis?
I think it's a multitude of different reasons why people stay. One is routine. Another reason why people stay is because it's what we taught, right? We taught never to give up. By being Black, we just fighters by nature. So we fight for things we fight for things we don't even want, you know, like just because it's ours or it's in our vicinity. So that's another reason. And then it's the idea of failing at something. When you pick somebody to marry and spend the rest of your life with, and it doesn't work out, you got to come back to everybody and say how you fell short. It's personal now because you didn't achieve something that you set out to do. So even though you understand it's not just based solely upon your performance, like it's like a school project, right? If your person don't do their home, they're part of the project. You're gonna do both parts so y'all can get an A+. And you find yourself in that situation where like you can overcompensate for his lack of compensation. And you just end up spinning your wheels and burning yourself out. And the other person understands that you're willing to do the work if I don't do the work. So they just let you do all the work. But it doesn't make you leave because then you've been with this person so long. What does it feel like to be in the bed by yourself? What does it feel like to be in the house by yourself? What does it feel like to go to Ruby Tuesdays by yourself? You know, like the routine of being with somebody means something to us. So like that's the thing we miss most of them during the breakup is the routine, you know, because now you have to do everything different. Sometimes you have to have a new group of friends. You have to like everything has to change. And we don't like change that abruptly. We just don't like it. We'd rather kind of deal with the pain that we know instead of the beauty of the unknown.
Professor, you better walk heavy. You better walk heavy.
And another thing is a lot of people, with some people that's married, you love the person, but you really don't like them. In my instance, I really say because like I said, I was a virgin and I didn't want to miss that part right there. I didn't want to leave it. Then every time I tried to leave, came back and and then I act like ain't nothing happened. Like
that's a major part too, the physical, and then also like you said, sometimes we love people we don't like them because you can start loving somebody by spending time with them a lot. That don't mean you necessarily like them. People can grow on you like fungi and mold, but that don't mean you want to keep that. You want to hold on to that. You got to get rid of that. So, but a lot of times men grow on women just because we constantly show up and we spend time with you. And in due time, a woman will be like, oh, he treats me nice. And then you'll love him, but you don't necessarily like him. And you know that you don't like him once he do something that shakes your confidence. And then you start seeing all his shortcomings. You know, like head small. Look how small his head is. I can't stand his little head. Those little beady eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like you just be talking about every little small thing, things that you overlooked when you was in love, but you never really liked them. So now that you ain't in love like that anymore, you dissecting everything.
Everything.
So, I'm an advocate for telling women not to do that though. Don't overlook things just because he's treating you nice all the time because if things ain't going nice, you're gonna be upset about all of them.
And let's throw in finances too. A lot of people stay financial, you know, especially married people. You get in there, especially if you're a stay-at-home mom and the husband is the breadwinner, and where you're gonna go. You don't have no job, so a lot of times it's financial. And then let's look at an area that, especially within the churches, prestige. If you married to somebody who's at a higher echelon and you used to that status, whenever y'all come to the church, wherever y'all go, you recognize with that individual. So to be disconnected from you don't have that level of prestige. So a lot of women, especially in the church, they'll stay with that man because he's a pastor and all the accolades that come with being married to this pastor. You know, you love that, you know, and sometimes you don't want to get rid of that stuff. And then they are familiar spirit. We are very comfortable with familiar spirits. We don't like that. Even when it comes to sin, the sins that we hang on to are those that's very familiar. They are pets scenes, and that's how we don't want to get away from familiarity, and that's why you have to be very careful. So you got finances, you got let's deal with the prestige level, then you got also codependent. Some people are codependent on the individual. They're feeding me something. I'm a codependent, so I'm feeding enablers. Maybe I'm being enabled by that person, or I'm enabling that person because of enabling a codependent. They feed off of each other. So some of these dysfunctional marriages, y'all are feeding each other something. It may be dysfunctional, but I'm getting something out of it, because if you didn't get something out of it, you wouldn't stay in it. And then she hit one, two, sex. One thing about sex is so powerful. And I realized this right here, that when a married couple stop having sex, the marriage is over, because that's the glue. Long as they have sex, it can continue to go on, because there's a bonding agent in that God created for you. That's why, you can get mad at the individual. You can be caught in red hand. He get you in bed, have sex. Boom, guess what? It's all over again. It's all good to go, because that's the bonding agent in there. So when you get these transfer of spirits, and this sex can hook you, and that's what God designed it for, that purpose, to hook the couple. So now I'm hooked, not just physically, but I'm hooked emotionally, I'm hooked spiritually. My soul is tied through that bonding, and it's really hard to break from that bonding, because you never really break. Every time you make a break, something's always going to break off in you. Trust me. So you take that break off piece into another relationship. So there's plenty of reasons to why people stayed. Embarrassment. I don't want to be embarrassed. You was warned not to marry such and such. They warned you, and you went ahead and married them anyway. Now I got to come back. I got to come back and face them. Didn't I tell you not to marry her? I told you. Now you don't want to hear that, so you'll stay and fight to the end just to keep from facing. I told you not to do it.
Yeah, trying to keep up an image is a rough part, because you end up hurting yourself more. You for a lot of unnecessary pain and trauma. And then, speaking from experience, as a man, if I know you're trying to keep up an image, then I ain't got to do nothing now. I ain't got to do nothing, because I know it's nothing I can do that's going to be too bad, because you're not going to let nobody know, because you're trying to save face. So even when I treat you wrong, you ain't going to talk about it. You're not going to tell your friends. You're not going to tell your daddy, because you don't want nobody to know what you're going through. So that just makes my behavior is just going to keep inclining. I'm going to keep getting worse and worse, because there's no consequences for my actions. But those are some of the main reasons people stay. And I think at the end of the day, nobody's an island. We wasn't meant to be alone. And the fear of being alone is a real fear, especially when you get in your 30s, that idea of not ever being with nobody and nobody to spend the rest of your life with. That's a lot, especially for women. Hey. Okay, we got a kill over there.
Hey, Carl, he was amen to you, Carlos.
And I mean, everything y'all said is very much so true. It's sad how relationships, I talk about it in my next book, my third book, when you are when you are in a sexless marriage, how much it affects you. And it really damns the relationship so bad. And you would think that it's not a major part, because you feel like you got communication. But baby, you need something to seal that sandwich together.
Yeah,
got to. Like peanut butter and jelly. Listen, that ain't no peanut butter sandwich if you ain't got no jelly. And that's what it is. You need jelly to be a part of that sandwich. You know what I'm saying? And so
most people's self-esteem is attached to sex.
Yes,
it really is.
Right. Exactly. And so what I like about what Shonna had wrote in here was that there was a song that says "Love is blind." Love is blind, and that was by Eve.
Okay, yeah, you know that's a
English,
girl. What you talking about?
It'll take over your mind. When you think it's love, it's truly night. And so when she said when it's truly night, I think you need something.
You elevated fine. You got an elevated fine. Come on.
Yes, and that song is so true. Even though she living her life over in England and all that great stuff with her boo, listen, and she wrote a song that prophesied a relationship that how it can end.
It was a true story for her. It was a true story for her friend.
Yes. Yeah. And so with Shonna, I want you to go a little bit deeper as far as the question is, how does a divorce begin? What does it look like for you? What does it look like for you?
That's good.
For me, it was very ugly because he was a popular person, because of his mannerism, the way he carried himself in public, is Mr. Do No Wrong. Is Mr. Speak eloquent, but he didn't even have a high school diploma. But you ain't know that. I'm just saying, you ain't know that.
You got that prison knowledge now. Come on.
Very smart, very intelligent. To be from the hood, had great jobs, but behind closed doors, a totally different person. So when I made the decision, a lot of people didn't like it, especially family. You know, they chose him, and they still cool with him, and would tell me I don't like divorce. You know, stick it out. And I'm like, but you don't know what I'm going through. Like, I'm not happy. It's like we roommates. And you said
cool with him to this day?
Well, sex went from every day to every other day to every 3 times a week to twice a week to once a week to nothing. You doing something? And people ask me, have you ever caught him cheating? No, but my body did, and I still didn't. I still stayed. I didn't physically. And then one thing, I was praying, and because his dad was a physical pimp, he had hoes and everything. And so I was like, well, he was a good man. He just wasn't a good husband. And the Holy Spirit say, he pimped your mind. He was a pimp. He was a mental pimp. I said, okay.
I like that.
Lord. But
take the start in the mind.
Yeah. Anything he said do, I did. Period. But I filed and he fought it. He did not want a divorce whatsoever. He fought it. He even told, and I did the uncontested. I paid this chick, and she filed the paperwork for me, everything. All he had to do was sign. He ain't paid for nothing. And remind you, I put him through the police academy. He lost his job. I paid the tuition. I put him through the police academy. So he got a whole career. I had nothing. I'm flashlight security officer. I'm telling you how stuff we do, not even knowing. I wasn't even thinking like that. I'm saying I'm doing this for us both. For our
Definitely.
Family, really.
Definitely. So I have a question. You said your family still cool with him to this day?
Some of them, yeah.
Oh wow, that's interesting. How does Thanksgiving look?
Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
they family, not my immediate.
Okay.
My immediate, I take that back. My little brother is really close to him, but that's only because he's been in his life since he was 15. So he's like a big brother to him.
It's like a mentor type of thing too for that. Yeah, little young men need that for sure. You know.
So they cool. Get that over there. Don't talk about me. No, none of that.
Don't bring them up.
No. It was like that in the beginning. I had to say, bro, listen, I don't want to hear that. I done moved on, okay?
Did you so what made him finally sign the papers?
I prayed because he held it for a whole month and a half. He would not sign. He kept saying, I don't want it. I'm like, please just sign the paperwork. I did. First, he said he did sign. I said, you're lying. Because the lady told me, you told her you ain't signing. So I prayed. I went in prayer and I said, God, please let him release me. If it's your will, Let him release me.
And what was the reason?
For divorce in the spirit too.
What was the reason he didn't want to sign? He just didn't want to leave you. He
won't let me. Don't no fool want to let another fool go. I'm paying everything. Like, why would he want to let me go? And God caused confusion with another family member and him, and it had something to do with me, which was the ultimate betrayal. And he signed the papers because when told him I was cheating and I wasn't.
Oh, okay, that's all you're gonna ask you. Now, what would you out here in these streets doing? Because the ultimate betrayal.
I couldn't even believe it. And then after he found out and he signed the papers and I filed, he called me. I'm sorry. I know your character. I apologize. I know that's not even you. But it's too late because as soon as they brought it to you, you should have knew that wasn't my character. I've been with you 13 years. You should have knew better.
That's a long time.
Thank you.
And your family member said this?
Do you hear
me? Yikes.
Blood.
So that's how it started. You just like one day you just woke up and was like, that's enough. Like the cup of it runneth over.
No, we were meeting that family member. He was purchasing a cell phone, and he was a habitual liar, but he only lied about little dumb stuff, not big stuff. So we went to meet them, talk about the phone. We left. He would say he was on his way to get the money for the phone. Then on our way to get the money for the phone, he called his mom. He started talking to his mom about that person, which was my family member. I'm talking about ugly stuff, and I'm like, if you felt that way, like these people are waiting for you to bring the money back. You could have just said I'm not interested, like so they can go by their day. What the just he hit the steering wheel like he wanted to hit me. I'm like, oh nah, I'm just crying like, Lord, I can't take this anymore. This is ridiculous. Get home, here in the living room watching TV. I'm in the bedroom watching TV. And I just cried out to God and I prayed. And I heard the Holy Spirit loud as they say, leave now. I packed a few clothes. I walked out the bedroom door. I looked at them and I said, you know what? I can't do this no more. This is the last time you're going to ever see me. And he just there, and I left. And we just moved there, luxury apartment, everything nice, everything brand new. I left everything. Even when I divorced, we was married over 10 years, so I get half of the 501, right? I mean, not the 501. What is it? What is it?
401k.
Yeah, 401k. I ain't take that.
You just wanted your sanity. You just wanted your sanity at that point.
I wanted a piece of mind.
Right, and she wanted a piece of mind. Yeah.
Period. That's it. And that's exactly what it is. Some people like, you stupid. You should have took this and the TV, the furniture, this and that. For what? No, I had a piece of mind. I was homeless as heck. I was married with 5 kids.
Hey, homeless people got a real good piece of mind. They ain't got no responsibility sometimes now. Sometimes they just be
hey. But
so that was the moment. Him punching the steering wheel like he wanted to hit you.
And it scared me because out of not one time we had any disagreement that he's done that.
And he didn't try to come and get you after you. He didn't try to come and get you after that. Like after you walked out.
He showed up a week later. He said, I was giving you time to cool off. I said, if you really love me, he showed up the door. Can you come outside? I said, for what? Came outside. Can you come home? No, I told you. I never come back. I said, you know how I know you don't love me and you didn't want to fight for me? Because it took you a week to come after me. Who does that?
Did he know you was okay? Like, did he know you was breathing? Oh, that's
no text, no call, no nothing.
Yeah, that's interesting. For sure.
You 11 years older than me.
Yeah, you gotta at least make sure the person okay. Made it to the destination.
Even after I filed for divorce, you changed. No, I matured. I'm in my 30s now.
Yeah, you woke up. See, that's appealing when a person's older than another. When a man's older than a woman, a lot of things work on her, because it's just the fact that it's a hierarchy there. Like, he's older, you feel like everything he says is more wiser. You're gonna flow with him, but as you grow into yourself and get your own wisdom, you start to question, like, hold up, that ain't making no sense. Can you explain that to me? And then they can't explain it. So now he's mad at you because you're not playing the astute pupil no more. You're not playing the attentive pupil. You actually got questions. You want to know why we making this decision, why we doing this with the money. And it ain't the same program. So that's why a lot of older men do like younger women, because it's a control factor there.
I want to go somewhere. You know, we talk about life after divorce, but the truth of the matter is, and listen to you talk and counsel a lot of people, the divorce has already happened. Most of the time, what we all talking about is paperwork. That's just paperwork. The divorce has already happened in the spiritual and the natural before the paperwork. Because a lot of times you'd already moved on. The woman is gone, or the man, the mind, the body is gone. So y'all spiritually is divorced. You know, it's way before you make it to this paperwork stuff. You know, that's why you was able to carry on. That's why even at the end they able to mess with different relationships with different people while you still divorced. Why? Because it's already divorced. It doesn't move on. You just waiting for a judge or somebody to say, hey, you divorced. Well, you was already divorced before that. Trust me, emotionally and physically, you was already gone. So we need to begin to look at that, you know, because what happens is the marriages end long before the paper end. Trust me, it has already deteriorated and reached a point to where somebody has already checked out long before the physical body checks out. The mind has checked out, and that's why you're counseling people. You have to try to bring the mind back, you know, to the individual, because the mind is already gone in the marriage.
Absolutely. And what I love about what Shonna wrote in her book, Why Did I Stay So Long? She said, while I felt relief, I was still in pain and needed some guidance. I decided to talk to the first man who ever loved me, my dad, to get his advice on what I should do next. See, this before I go to Shonna, Daddy, this is why I tell you it's so important when you know, because you've been in my life now for a few years, and it's so important for me to be able to access, for you to be accessible, especially when my heart gets broken. Not to take away from my biological father, because my biological father does love me, but he just didn't know how to father me, and that's a difference. And so, Daddy, this is why I say it's so important, and that's why I know you're teaching my little sister Eljira, teaching Jira how to know to love herself, but always know Daddy got you. You know, even with on Valentine's Day, my daddy Daryl Talbert called me. He said, daughter, I'm gonna send you a little something for Valentine's Day. Take you and your daughter. The fact that he said something about treating me for Valentine's Day, I felt love. Like with Shonna, what you wrote in the book, you went to the man that first loved you. You know, and that taught you how to be loved. So when you felt this divorce going the way, this relationship and marriage going the way that it did, you went to your daddy because your daddy had the answers. Even though you prayed, like you said, you prayed, but you still didn't get no resolve. And I believe that when it comes down to marriage before it gets to divorce or something like that, I believe you do need a mediator. I believe you do need a counselor, because you can get the other person can find out where it went wrong, you know. And when I tell people, when you get a Christian counselor or someone to counsel you in your marriage or do marital counseling, it's necessary because it gets you to see the ins and outs. It gets to see your do's and your don'ts. It gets to show you whether you want to be married or not. It gets you to show you whether this is something that maybe y'all should maybe wait on and just date a little bit longer, you know, stay engaged a little bit longer. It's nothing wrong with that, because you don't want to go into a new marriage with the intent of thinking, oh, it's going to get better, but it ends in divorce. And so with that, I salute you, Shonna, because you went to someone who cared about your feelings, who could listen to you, and could give you the guidance and answers. And that's why I just wanted to point out to you, Daddy, why it's so important. That's why I made it very clear. The next man that I'm married to, he gonna talk to my daddy first.
And he has.
And
he has.
Yes, absolutely. He's gonna talk to my daddy first, and he has. And I think it's a beautiful thing when someone can go talk to my daddy, and my daddy can get to know him for himself, and my daddy can see the fluff before there's a divorce to take place. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so, Shonna is very real, y'all. I got somebody inbox me want to ask a question. Y'all can just ask the question on comment. Shonna can see it. I'm on the show. Ask Shonna. She right there. But when Shonna has been through so much, just like with me, I was in a marriage to where I ended up getting a sexually transmitted disease. And it was hurtful because I knew that I didn't have this disease before I said I do.
Okay.
I knew I got tested on May 25th, 2016. I got my results.
Okay, you got the date. Oh, come on with it. Yeah, what time was it? What time was it? No, come on.
I knew I ain't had no STD. I knew this. But to be able to go to my doctor and my doctor tells me that I had an STD, I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
Like, hold up.
You lying. I know you lying. You can't be. So it went past forgiveness. At this point, it was like, I want to kill you. I want to hurt you.
Right.
Because you now violated my life.
Playing with my life.
And you playing with it. But thanks be unto God that I had an amazing pastor and an amazing spiritual father and godfather who was like, daughter, just breathe for a moment. Just breathe. Because a lot of people didn't really understand. I still didn't come out about it. I still didn't talk about it. I just kept on with my life. And a lot of people was like, what's wrong? And then bam. And so Shonna, when she talks about it, like she dropped the mic on us at the women's conference. She talked to us about 15 minutes. And she said, and then you're going to end up with something that you can't get rid of. And she dropped the mic and walked down. I said, she really was like this in the church.
Wow.
Because a lot of people don't talk about it.
Yes.
Right.
And it took me a while too.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. So I know why people wouldn't. That's a very personal, you know what I'm saying, up close. So yeah, and actually people do need to hear it because you kind of realize you're not the only one. You know, when you realize I'm not the only one, then that makes you feel better and can help. So that's good that you able to talk about that.
And I have so many women reach out to me, Facebook, Clubhouse. Oh my God, you know, I want to talk to you because my husband did the same thing to me.
See?
And check this out. If you read the book, you will find out. I'm telling you, be like, girl, you still say yes. I got married and found out he had 4 children.
Wow.
And they all had the same mama.
He's a sociopath. He's a sociopath for sure. Like he don't got.
Some people don't understand why some women are bitter.
Something's off with him though.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's crazy when you can keep going after you done knowing that you done messed up somebody else's life. That's crazy.
Right. Something off inside is psychologically something off for you to be able to like give somebody something they can't cure, like all that. That's just the difference because now that person has to have that conversation with anybody she dates going forward. Like that's just direct people's life like that and have no real empathy or remorse is that's almost inhumane, you know. So
and to get something, you know, my daddy, I was on the phone with my daddy. Want you, daddy? I was on the phone with my daddy going to my doctor visit, and I was in tears, crying. You know, I said, I got to go 4 weeks to get these treatments.
Wow.
And daddy was like, daughter, it's okay. I cried. I'm crying to my daddy. I said, daddy, because they gave me 2 shots each time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And both of my hips. Both times, 2 shots. And I'm like, and that serum, that medicine was so thick, but what hurt the most was the needle, because the needle was just about that thick, sticking them in my hips. And I'm crying, talking to my daddy. And I'm like, Daddy, I can't believe this. Like, why would he do this to me? Like
y'all weren't even having a lot of sex.
Why did he do this to me? And daddy was like, daughter, I know. And no matter how much you said, daughter, I know, I was like, Daddy, I was good to him. I was like, it wasn't perfect, but I was a good
I
wife.
want that bad. I want that bad. If I was great.
I was like, Dad, and then, for when I was talking to the doctor, she said, well, he knew. She was like, she said he had to know because it was late syphilis. That's what she said. She said it was late syphilis. So it done stayed for a while. Do you know with late syphilis, to educate some of you, with late syphilis, it can turn into HIV/AIDS untreated?
Wow.
And some people was like, oh, no, that's not. Oh, yes, that's true. If you leave a sexually transmitted disease untreated, it eventually turns into HIV, then it turns to AIDS.
Wow.
If it's left untreated. And my Dr. Jamie Middleton, and I asked her, was it okay if I ever, ask her, because if I say her name, she doesn't mind it at all. But Dr. Jamie Middleton, she's one of the baddest OBGYNs here, gynecologists here in the state of Texas. And she told me, she said, I'm glad that you're no longer with him. This is exactly what my doctor said.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So, like, when you are Shonna, Nakia said, hey, my
hey, Nakia. Hey, all my FST sisters, Phyllis Storyteller sisters.
Yes, storyteller
sisters.
Yes. And so I just want y'all to understand, it meant a lot to me. And I'm sure Shonna can say the same thing. It means a lot to us when you can go to your dad and talk to your dad, and your dad nurture you back to the place of life.
Yes.
Because I even looked at my pictures from when, and I'm gonna do a collage one day, and I post it, later on when the Lord reveals it to me to post. But you can see the transition that I went through. My face, the changes. My face broke out in my face. It broke all out in my face.
Wow.
It showed all in my face. I had sores, open sores on my face.
Oh, wow.
And my daddy said, daughter, I'm praying. My face was hurting. And listen, my face broke out while we were still married.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, it was your face and it was my private part.
Your private part. It was.
I'm talking about open skin.
Open skin on my face. From this marriage, from this man that I was married to, whom I said I love, and I was no longer going to divorce. I was not going to divorce him. I was going to be with him for the rest of my life. Even after he put his hands on me, my dumb behind, after the Lord said, get out, I was like, well, what about Jayla? What about?
Same here. Lord, if you just get me out of these.
That's that nurturing spirit right there. That's that nurturing spirit right there, boy.
But I am not free from being nurturing.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So both of you got STDs, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is the conversation like after the person gives you this? Like, what's the conversation like when you bring this information to them? What's the conversation?
Well, with me, I can answer this. With me, I have a restraining order against him, so I can't have no communications with him at all. It wasn't no communication I need to have.
Oh, so you found out after you was already gone.
Exactly. I found out after. And the reason how my dad and my pastor told me to go get tested.
Gotcha.
They told me
because that lifestyle was, you have to get tested after that. Trust me.
Yeah. So I was like, but I've been going to the doctor all this time.
Yeah.
But listen, I was going to the doctor, getting my physical done for the past 4 years, but this is what she said. I said, I thought whenever you gave me a pap smear, you would automatically
I thought so too.
automatically give me an AIDS, HIV, test me for all STDs. And so can y'all see me?
Yeah, I see you. Yeah, you still here. You still with us.
Okay. And so she said, no, you have to request it. She said you have to request it. I said, oh, really?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you have to request it. And when you get a woman gets her annual, you have to request to get you have to get it to get tested for all sexual transmitted disease. A full thing.
Yes.
Why
You
would
got
that not
to
be a natural
for
progression?
everything. HIV, AIDS, herpes, all of that. You have to ask for all of that.
But why would that not be a natural progression if you're checking out my vaginal area? Why wouldn't you be checking it?
It's only a concern whenever they automatically with pap smears. With pap smears, they will test you for gonorrhea and chlamydia because that's in that area, and they'll test you also if you have a yeast infection or bacterial vaginosis.
Yeah,
but I can have something that I can have like syphilis, and you won't check for that.
Because some people stuff are be undetected, and when it's undetected and there's no open sores down there. They're not going to say,
they're not going to waste no money in a test, I guess.
It loves dominant in a woman longer than a male.
And so, and with that sexual transmitted disease, you got to get blood. So they can,
that's it.
And once they get that blood and that blood come back, and that test came back, that's why she went. And so when she said, your results are in, I tested on May 4th. It was crazy. I met him in the same month I got tested in. So on May the 14th, it was after Mother's Day weekend, I scheduled an appointment. Daddy said, try to get in as soon as possible. And so I got in as soon as possible. And the next available date was May 14th. When I got on there, May 14th, she said, okay, your results will be in. She said, no call. This is what they say. No call means great, no results. Mean everything good. Well, after she said, we'll call you within the next week. I'm thinking that everything is good. I got a call on June the 1st.
Listen, in times, what she was eating, she be listen.
I got a call on June the 1st. It was on a Monday. And my call was at, I believe it was 1:00 that afternoon. I was hurt. And she said, I know I got a call, and she said, I want to do a video with you. When she said she wanted to do the video with me,
you knew what was up.
Good.
You was thinking the worst of the worst at that time, right? You was thinking the worst.
And she said, Victoria, honey, she said, I just want to say thank you for my call, XYZ. Long story short, she gave me the news. And she said, I know. She said, after you leave me, you have to go to the health department because they have to contact him. You cannot have no physical conversation with him. They will call him. I said, because I hope I ain't got to call, because if I call him, I'm going to be in jail. It ain't going to be no. So a lot of people are trying to figure out, how was I able to maneuver the way that I was able to? It was because I had the help of my daddy. I had the help of my mama. I had the help of people, my family, my immediate family. It was my immediate family who prayed me through. And just as Shonna was talking about in the soul cries, she had to go to somebody that she trusted that can help encourage her and build her confidence back up. Because I don't think nobody really understands Shonna. And Shonna jump in at any given moment. But I don't think people understand how your life shifts after a traumatic divorce when it deals with a sexually transmitted disease, or it's dealing with somebody cheating on you or lying to you, deceiving. I don't think they really understand how deep it is.
And honestly, I didn't even tell my dad. Nobody in my family knew. I can't.
You were still together. Y'all was still together when you found out you had it, though, right?
And we went to the doctor together because he was denying it came from him. I'm like, you the only one I slept with. I was a virgin. Are you?
So he was trying to say you did it. He was trying to say you cut it out.
Of course, that's the way it's gonna go.
Reverse autopsy.
Cut it out. See, that's a personal path.
And the doctor was like, you can't. I guess because he's older than me, she was like, it's not traceable. You can't trace who gave it to you because it can, like I say, lie dominant within you, and you can't tell who you got it from. Obviously, he's been with a lot of people.
Right.
Yeah, that's a sociopath. So therefore, he would never admit that he's the one that gave it to you.
No.
To this day.
Mm-mm.
Crazy.
And to this day, he tried to use it. I got a text after I filed for divorce, and he texted me. I ignored it, and he called me. I ignored it, and he texted me. We need to talk. I called. What's going on? He said we have to stay together because you know what we got. Yeah. Yes, he tried to use it to keep me hostage in the marriage.
Right, that nobody else will want you.
And that nobody else will want you, right?
With that.
It was nobody else. He said nobody gonna want you and nobody gonna want me, so we gotta stay together.
And see, mine was different from Shonna's because I didn't find out any of this. Like I said, the whole entire time I was getting my annuals every year, going to the doctor, but I thought she was texting me, for everything. And I was like, oh, and then one particular Sunday, she called me on a Sunday and this was before service. And I was like, Dr. Milton, what's she doing in the office on a Sunday? I found it so weird that she called me on a Sunday, and I had a voicemail, and I had told him, I said, well, Dr. Milton, I just got a call from Dr. Milton's office. I'm trying to figure out why she called me on a Sunday before service. It was 9 a.m. before service. He said, well, call her back and see what she wants. I called her back, and she didn't answer because I have her direct contact. And so she never answered. And so I called the next morning, and she was like, hey, I was just checking in with you, following up you, see if everything's okay. Are y'all still trying to have kids? Are you still trying to we have a baby and stuff like that? And I was like, not at this time, because we wasn't having sex. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't no need for me to say, oh yeah, I was over that. So I was done with it. I wasn't gonna try to fool myself into believing and having arguments with a man that don't want to have sex with me. That just was not gonna keep happening. So again,
that's a lot of courage though, to leave a marriage where you got an STD that's not curable from a man, and to still say, you know what, even if I can't find nobody, I'm still gonna be with you. Like that takes a lot of courage right there.
I'm telling you, when Shonna dropped the mic on us, my mouth was sitting. I was standing there like right before. I said, y'all want me to come behind her and preach?
Exactly.
Shonna left her home.
I was just listening. I could have a different path in my life if I would have listened.
Yeah, it's like you just don't. Like most women would stay in that. Or most men would stay in that. But like, well, you got a point. Nobody else gonna want. Might as well stay together. Like that just lets you know how much courage you got and how much you was really done with him. You know what I'm saying? Like that was enough.
It's like I still stayed, and instead of holding him accountable, I beat myself up.
How does that work? Beat yourself up about what part? About staying with him? Could you still stay?
And why did I make this decision? Why I chose him? I was a virgin. This is who I chose to lose my virginity to. But I didn't want a divorce because that's the only man I've been with. I grew up like feed and mistreated and all that. And I'm like, I don't want to. And divorce, ran in my family. They like divorce. Been married 2-3 times. I ain't want that for myself.
So I'm putting it all together. So you lost your virginity to this man. The person that you lost your virginity to is the only man you ever been with, and this man gave you an STD that you can't cure.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's why I'm so certain. Like he's the only man I ever had sex with in my life.
One partner.
One.
Wow.
One.
That's very. And that's and listen, the partners that I've had in my life, we before we had got married, before I had got engaged, not married, but before I got engaged and we was gonna be serious like that, we went together, got our results together. With him, he was like, oh, I got my results, I did this, and I was like, okay, we're gonna share our results once you get them. And so when I got my results and then I asked him his results over the phone, he was like, "Oh, everything came back good." And I just took his word for it. I did not ask. I got my results. I keep my results on my in my little folder. You know,
you think you contracted that before the marriage or like after the marriage? Do you think he been had it, or do you think he caught that while he was messing around during the marriage?
For me?
Yeah.
The doctor told me he contracted while I was married to him.
Gotcha.
And with syphilis, and it was late syphilis, she said that you've had it. She was able to tell me. She said you had it for about a year and some change. Is that what she told me? And I said, you know what? It makes sense because for a whole year and a half, he wasn't in the house. For a whole year and a half, he been out. So for a whole year and a half, that was true. So I knew she was, but at the end of the day, even if she came with me with the results, the fact of the matter, I did not have an STD of any kind.
Because you got tested before the marriage.
And I did not sleep with him before marriage. I didn't meet him, did not have no type of involvement until the night of our consummation.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I talked to my daddy and I was going to them doctor's visits and I'm telling my daddy, like, Daddy, I'm so angry. I would cry every Friday leading up to preaching in Daddy pulpit on July the 4th weekend. And Daddy, did he not call my cell phone when I was at your house?
Yep. Yeah, matter of fact, you got a shot that same week when you was there.
Same week, in pain.
Right. And
I got on the plane. I got on the plane that same week, I believe it was same morning. Yeah, the same day. I had my shot done and I got on the plane and
yeah, because I was like why was you sitting like that? You say I had to get the shot. I'm like, okay, I forgot. So
yeah, because I was sitting, I couldn't sit. I had to sit a certain way because of the needles, how those shots was painful. And my pain wouldn't leave for about 2
and
weeks.
it stays with you. It has wow.
I mean,
I want to go somewhere, right? I want to talk to her. There was a lot of anger in your marriage, right? How did the post? Let's go post. How did you transition to where my life? I want to try it again with somebody else. What was the process? Because we're talking about life after divorce. So I'm pretty sure you came away broken, hurt. Maybe even anger towards me, especially if he gave you that, some anger towards him for that. And now, I had to move on. I got to try to get in another relationship. Do I stay out relationship? Do I hold hatred towards me? So sort of give us a process of how you had to heal, in order to move into another relationship.
So the first thing I had to do, because like I said, I beat myself up. I would cry, blame myself. If I would have listened, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Talk to my dad, and she say, "Go to your dad." Talk to my dad, and my dad was like, "You know what, daughter? Don't beat yourself up. Those years that you had with him were not wasted years. God is a redeemer of time."
That's good. I like that. The
first thing you need to do is forgive yourself.
That's good.
Yeah, for sure. That's the first thing, for sure.
He said, life don't stop now. You a beautiful woman. You strong like your mama. You was taught how to be married and independent, not codependent. You know what I taught you? Stand on the word of God, and God will lead you. He gave me scriptures, and the main one was lean not into your own understanding.
Wow.
Knowledge God in all your ways, and He will surely direct your path. Set your affections things above, not things on this earth. Just biblical principles. Along with biblical principles, I went on a self-healing journey, self-loving journey. I took myself on a date. I didn't date nobody.
Wow, that's good.
Somebody asked me for some. Nope.
That's good.
Don't rub it on me. Don't none of that.
How long was the gap before you got into another relationship? There's a reason why I'm asking that, because some people rush right into it. I like what you're saying. So what was your gap period?
I would say, to be honest, even after I divorced him, 6 months, we didn't talk for 6 months. He reached out to me Valentine's Day and asked me to take me out, my ex-husband. I let him take me out. We started messing around again. just the sex part though.
Right.
This is where my heart was going, because you doing for me, as for me in my head, you doing everything that you're supposed to do back then. You can do it now, you gonna do it, okay? So I'm making pay for what
you wanted some vindication. Yeah, you're trying to get reciprocity now. You're trying to get reciprocity.
No feelings, none of that. And he caught feelings and wanted to marry me, get and everything. And I said, you know what, bro? No. Okay, you bring out the worst in me. I don't want that. Okay, goodbye. And so shortly after, I prayed and I said, God, I just, like I said, we was divorced. So we was separated we was divorced for like a year and a half, something like that. And I told him, you bring out the worst of me and you can't be my friend, deuces.
You can't even be my friend.
You can't be my friend, deuces. And I prayed to God, I cried out to God, I repented to God for that sexual encounter, because I was just feeding my flesh and out of spite as well. And God told me he's still a soul. That's still my son. So I called him, I repented. I apologize for hurting your feelings. I don't want you. Have a good life. Goodbye.
Right.
Went home, praised to God, cried out to God. God, I'm not going to date. I'm not going to talk to nobody. Whoever you send me, you going to send them. I'm not going to look. And so my dad's spiritual mom contacted him and told her she seen me marrying somebody. And I told him she missed God, because I'm not dating nobody. Okay?
Right.
Missed her. And then we had another friend of his called me and was like, I see you getting married. I was like, you done missed him too, because I ain't talking to nobody. Like, I'm not even interested in nobody, because the woman, this is how crazy it was. I wasn't dating nobody. Nobody was hitting me up. Nobody was asking me out. None of that. And so, make a long story short, I met a coworker and he introduced me to his homeboy. And I was like, looking through, I'm like, oh, he fine. See, that's what got me in trouble in the first place. So I seen this boy. And I was like, you know what? I always like Daryl Talbert. He good right there. He introduced us and he stayed in Corpus. To pause it there, a man of God had just told me, he prophesied to me that somebody's coming from out. Hey, you missed it too, because I don't know about it. Meet him, talk to him. He came down here after a month, about 2 months of talking on the phone only. And he came down here. We saw each other face to face. And we started talking ever since. And 3 years later, now, I had to let him know my situation. And this what really got me is my mom always told me, when you know they the right person, ask God for 3 signs that only you and him know. So he showed all 3 signs, and just like my dad's spiritual mother described him to the T, she described him to the T along with my signs. And then the conversation came up. We wasn't sexual or anything, baby. I made him wait too. Listen, forget that. Oh, we ate now too, Lord Jesus. Like, give me strength, Lord. Okay. But I had that conversation with him. Hey, this is what happened to me. This is why I'm a little distant from you. I'm not rejecting you, because he thought I was rejecting him because I'm not a materialistic chick. And he was like, buying me gifts and stuff. My ex never did that for me. So I didn't know how to receive it. I didn't know how to receive a Michael Kors watch or a Gucci purse and all that. I don't even pay purses like that. So I had to let them know I'm not rejecting you. I'm not neglecting you. None of that. I appreciate you. I'm just not used to it. Give me time. But I need to have a conversation with you if we want to, move forward in our relationship, or you go your way, I'll go mine. So I explained to him the reason why we wasn't having sex. Mm-hmm. First of all, my commitment to God. Second of all, that's my situation. And I explained it to him, and the first thing that came out of his mouth, he was like, number one, I apologize for him doing that to you. He's a butthole. That should have never happened to you. Second of all, God is going to heal you. I ain't worried about that.
Oh, wow.
And I just broke down crying. Listen. And he got through, like, I held him and he prayed over me.
Wow.
And then when he left to go home, he was staying in Corpus. He drove back home. I called my daddy and just broke down crying like, Daddy,
that's a solid dude right there.
I didn't have a choice. I'm gonna give somebody that choice. I'm gonna talk to you. I'm gonna tell you. But in my mind, I felt like nobody's gonna warn me. Just like he spoke over my life.
Yeah, that's a solid dude right there.
Me. I believe those lies.
Right.
That's a solid.
The guy showed me, no. I have need of you. You have life. You are, and I started speaking that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, and everything God made is good. That's why it's important to have those declarations and affirmations. It's so important. Look yourself in the mirror. I got a mirror right here. Girl, listen, girl, you fine. It's not an ego. You speaking over yourself.
Right.
A lot of people
because this right here will overtake you if you don't.
There's a question about Cassandra. There's a question right there. Can you see that question on the screen?
Yeah.
What do you think about
a man having a baby with another woman while married? How do you stay when the trust is gone? Good question.
Case by case scenario, you know.
Y'all, why y'all get quiet?
What do y'all have? Yeah, that's a case by case scenario.
Don't inbox me. Post your questions here so that Shonna can ask them. Y'all will hear about my story later.
That's a hard one.
Okay, I'm gonna let Shonna. There you go.
Shonna, that question is for you.
That's for me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you think about a man having a baby with another woman while married? How do you stay when the trust is gone?
That's a good one.
Lord, let me tell you. I ain't gonna lie. A whole baby that I have
to baby, not half a baby, but a whole one. Not a half.
A whole baby, a whole baby that I have to look at every day is kind of hard for me. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of, especially when I don't have no kids myself.
And
you go out and get somebody pregnant, the child is innocent. But you gonna do that, I probably black out. I ain't gonna even lie. But would I probably say,
yeah.
Because the sex is good.
Cassandra said y'all got quiet on me. Thank you, Cassandra. Look, I need y'all to be able to give her some advice because you never know. It may be a question. It may not be her, but it may be a question that somebody maybe going through.
I always say, listen, I never tell you leave your man, leave your husband, your significant other, take it to God. Do your pros and cons because I might can handle what you can't. You might can handle what I can't. I don't know. Everybody's situation is different. Some people I know have stepped out, cheated, had a baby, and got back together, and their marriage is better than ever.
Right.
Some people divorced and went their separate ways. You don't know what is God telling you. Because everybody's situation is different. Some things God allow us to go through is to make us stronger. Did you put that man first before God? Did you make him your God? And God probably allowed it to happen to, force you to come to him. I don't know.
Shonna, did you make that statement? I apologize, but I still don't want you. Did you make that statement?
I sure did.
Yeah, she had said that. She had said that to her husband.
My ex-husband, yeah.
When they started getting up just for the physical. And
I thought it was a troll.
I heard of women staying and leaving. There are other dynamics that come into play.
Right. Because you can have the same situation, when a man find out that his wife has had a baby on him. So, you got those situations. But I want to go somewhere back with you. When you look at hindsight 2020, you do women empowerment, correct?
Yes, sir.
And when you look at it, would you say you're more effective because of what you went through?
Absolutely. I think I used to be, I was a bitter woman after it. Yeah. How I know I was bitter? Because it was like the Diary Man Black Woman. Y'all know that movie. You in the tub. Yeah, you feel that? That's how I felt in the inside. He got me crying one day, and I was like, oh, you just doing what I was doing all these years. So if you allow your mind to control you, you will become a bearded woman. Your mind, if you don't control your mind will control you. If you don't control your emotions will control you. I learned to turn my bitterness and become better.
That's good.
And the only way I can do that is not only forgive myself, but forgive him and take accountability for what I done. Because many times we point the fingers. He only did what I allowed him to do. Period. A lot. That's just not relation. That's friendship.
That's life. Yeah, for sure.
They only do what you allow them to do. So I had to take. That's what boundaries come in at. And my thing is, I protect my peace at all costs. Listen, you can't do nothing that I don't allow you to do.
Right.
At the end of the day, we only go through things that God allow us either to push us closer to Him or to get something out of us.
Come on.
Period.
I got another question. What about God? Did any time, because when you look at your perspective, you're different from a lot of women. Okay, God, I held a virgin status. I did what you told me to do. I waited for this man. I didn't give away. I waited. I get married just like you told me to. Release myself. Bam! This what happens. At not one time that maybe some anger towards God, a misunderstanding towards God that, I was obedient. Why would you allow this to happen to me?
No, I was apologetic to God because I was warned in the beginning. So I'm like, okay, God, I waited, but I still went against what you said. You tried to warn me. So
you was warned not to go with him. So you was warned not to marry him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
My daddy even told me not to do it, and I did it anyway. He didn't even ask my daddy for permission.
Whoa.
Well, daddy don't want his daughter dating no older man anyway, because he know what he up to. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and that's how my biological father was. My biological father was not. He was like, how he gonna ask you to marry him, and he didn't even come and ask me, and I'm your daddy. And
my mom said, your daddy mad because he ain't asked him.
How old were you when you started dating him?
19.
And he was 29.
Mm-hmm.
Now you tell me, what does a 29-year-old have in common with a 19-year-old on a mental level to make him actually be able to meet you there?
I like mature men.
But that's what a father's thinking. Like, what is a 29-year-old man, almost 30 years old? Where's he at mentally where he can meet a 19-year-old? Something ain't right about that to a man. Like, we not gonna be. That don't sound good.
I'm his only daughter.
Y'all also be listening like a 29-year-old should be. One's kind of listening to Common, the other one's listening to Soldier Boy. Like, those are like generational gaps. You know what I'm saying? Like, how are y'all even relating?
I'm the college will use music to try to tie them in together.
Yeah, so I definitely know your father went on that.
He even told me I tolerated him. My dad was like, the difference between, because he loved my fiance. Oh my God. And my dad was like, the difference between that one and this one, I tolerated that. This one have a good heart. This one have pure intentions. This is who God sent you. Now, when God put you together, it's up to you to do the work. He did the work. The rest of the work is up to y'all.
Yeah, that's a prime situation for a man to take advantage of. Though you got a 19, you could just turn her in there, whatever you want her to be, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Especially she's a virgin. You really get to mold her, you get to shape her, you get to control. Always the first person has the power. So there's a lot with being first, because you don't know no better. That's all you know. When that's all you know, you have nothing to compare it with, so you think that's the greatest show on earth.
Point of reference. That's right.
But believe it or not, that's what God wanted it though, so that you wouldn't have no reference to nothing else, so that you could be content with what you had. And that's what messed up a lot of relationships, because they could compare this to something else, and if it doesn't level up to what I had, you find yourself wanting sometime, and God never intended it for it to be that way.
Yeah, we really don't. You don't know how it's going to end up or turn out, and I just really think when we're dealing with life after divorce, anyone's dealing with it, like with Shonna, she has a book. I got When the Soul Cries, but she also has Life After Divorce. And so if you would like to get her next book, that she has When the Soul Cries, which I have, and then she has also Life After Divorce. I definitely post the link where you guys can. I think it's at I am Shonna Stoot.
Just ShonnaStoot.com.
It's ShonnaStoot.com, and I post it and put that.
Let me tell you this. Even one thing that we have to be careful about is what I did when meeting somebody after you divorce. We always go for what we want, but God give us what we need.
Good. I like that.
When I met my fiance, when I first saw him in person, it's in my book, y'all. I was like, "You fat?" He said, "You want to?" Like, I saw his flaws, like everything about him that I didn't like. Instead of,
he said, "You want to?"
He did. He was like, "You want to, but you're a beautiful woman," and this and that. And I'm like, but I started nitpicking.
That's a good comeback.
I didn't expect him to say that.
You gotta have some. You weren't ready for that. You weren't ready.
Yes, but everything that I went through, he loved me through it. Because I was still grieving from my mom and dealing with situations. I would say, many people say, I just got the question, matter of fact, how can you forgive a person and not think about the situation? And I'm like, you can forgive a person and still be affected by the trauma of the situation. Mm-hmm. The trauma of my situation, I was still dealing with even in my current relationship, because it was triggers in me that I thought I didn't know that was in me, that I thought I was over. Like he would say, I would say, "Don't ever call me young, dumb, and stupid." So if he say any of one of those words, I'm.
The irony of a guy dating a woman knowingly 10 years younger than him and then calling her young and dumb is like.
No. This is my new relationship.
I'm talking about the first one though. The irony in that though, like, of course she's young. That's what you picked her for. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's not dumb. You just have more experience than her. Like, you've lived 10 years longer. Like, bro, you was leaving high school and she was 9 years old. Like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like,
he actually apologized to me too. He called me one day and apologized. I was shocked. He apologized to me for all that. He said I was the worst husband because he's remarried. He's married now. And I'm like, I forgive you. Thank you for, saying that. And he was like, the only issue I had was your attitude. That's the only, everything else, it was me. It was all me. I'm like, I understand that. But please tell your wife what you got. All right.
That's what I was going to say, man. Like, I know he hates you telling your story right now, though, Lord.
Oh, no, he know. He know.
Now, Shonna,
this is my testimony. This is my story. He know. He know about the books. He know about everything.
Shonna, now you know
what?
There's a part in the book, y'all, that is so juicy. And I'm just going to read it real quick. Look at Collins. I'm going to read it real quick. But she said that she was rejected. That was one of the key words, it rejected. And I have a young lady, she's watching right now. And she's going through the very same thing in her, now in the process of going through a divorce. But she did this very same thing that Shonna did. She said she was tired of him leaving her at home as if he was ashamed of her and doing what he wanted like he was an unmarried man. We only had sex when he wanted to. Mm-hmm. One night, she remembered getting all dressed up in her lingerie, in her sexy lingerie. I just knew this would get his attention because it's always worked in the past. I was excited about surprising him because I just knew he wanted me. I walked into the living room where he was. He looked at me with annoyance and said, "Don't you see me watching the game?" I felt so rejected. I cried myself to sleep that night and started to feel like I was a failing wife. I started feeling fat, ugly, and unattractive. A few days after my failed lingerie mission, I asked him, "Are you attracted to me?" With so much sarcasm and disregard, he replied, "Girl, stop nagging." you know, I am attracted to you. He was always a smooth talker, but his actions did not line up with his words. So, Shonna, what can you say to that woman who is feeling rejected right now?
It hurts. Oh my God, it hurts. You feel like something is wrong with you. Instead of trying to figure out what's wrong with them, it's like, okay, am I good enough? Am I not good enough? What's going on with me? Do I need to lose weight? Am I too big? Your self-esteem is jacked up at this point. So I would say, you know, honestly, I mean, it's hard. I'm not gonna lie. It is like it's so hard. Like people, you wouldn't understand. Feeling neglected, rejected, it messes this up.
Yeah,
it messes this up. So at the end of the day, sweetheart, do you know who you are?
Yeah, that's what you got to get back to at the end of the day. Just get back to you and understand that another person's perspective of you, opinion, even if it is your husband, doesn't define you. Like
it does not.
It could be your husband, it could be your mom or your daddy. That one person's perspective or opinion doesn't define you or who you are or what your worth is. So it goes back. It starts with you.
Are you gonna choose you or are you gonna choose y'all?
You know, and self-esteem comes and goes. It's an up and down situation. It's a balancing act. You know, you're not always feeling your best. You're not always feeling your worst. You're just trying to get somewhere in the middle. You know, some days are great. Some days you don't. You know, even if you're in a good relationship, some days you look in the mirror and be like, something wrong with my eyes, a little off today. You know, like a piece of my hair won't stay down. Now, I don't got that problem, but some of y'all do. You know,
I don't either, Carlos.
Me and you good. But yeah, like, you know, it's just it's a balance thing. You know, trying to get that middle balance. But yeah, don't put all your self-esteem, all your self-esteem dependency on one person. Don't do that at all.
And have a conversation with them.
That's true too. That's true too. And honestly, if he ain't got nothing to give you, just, you know, you talk to people that boost you up. You got some homegirls that'll be a cheerleading squad for sure. You know, like, don't lose the homegirls. The homegirls got the pom-poms out. You need them.
Yeah.
And that's where Daddy would have came in at. Daddy would have came in right there. Daddy would have filled her with that. When I look at my daughters, all of them, even with Jara, you know, that's all I tell them 24/7. Oh, you're gorgeous, you're beautiful, you're highly intelligent, you know. And she's sometimes like, I know that, I know.
Yeah,
like, that's why I want her right there. I want her to get to the point where she's sick and tired of it. Because when the Joe Blow said, well, I'm not amused, I'm not, you know, I'm not,
don't even impress me.
I'm sick and tired. And the reason why that's so important, so when they do go into a marriage, like with and the husband is saying, well, well, I'm not too much affected. I want your affection, but I already got self-esteem in me. You know, we got to be a container. You got to be able to contain your own self-worth, your own self-esteem. Because if you're not a container to contain yourself, then you're going to be in trouble because you're going to need it from an outside stimulus. But really, everything God has given us, think about this. We never think about this. Everything God has given us is inside. You got to always look inside of you. Define it. It's right there. It's in there, but we always looking on the outside for self-worth. Self-worth is inside. Where I feel everything is inside. Even God is inside. You got to look inside. We're always looking up to heaven for God. You know, it's saying greater than He is where? In. But we always looking up in the sky. Why are you looking up? Everything is in here. And when I begin to know it's in here, I can focus. It's all right to get other people's opinions and all of that stuff. But when you become self-contained and content with you'll be better off. I'm a very self-contained individual. You know what I mean? I sit there and I look at myself and I regulate myself. And that's what we got to do. So to that young lady, because this would have happened. Let's say you're in a marriage and you're not getting the compliments, right? Well, here comes Joe Blow.
And Joe Blow always come.
He's a very romantic dude. He know how to give compliments. So because I need to hear that, so when Joe Blow complimented me at the beginning, it was nothing sexual, was nothing that I really cared about Joe Blow, but because he gave me something I wanted, then I find myself turning towards that. Why? Because there's feeding something inside of me, and the more he give it to me, the more I pull from my husband, and the more I gravitate. That's what it's called. The what's the word I want to use, Ray? The adultery zone. No adultery zone. You know that's the adultery zone. The cheat zone. That's the word I'm really looking for. You start floating out toward the cheat zone. Don't mean that you're going to cheat, but you're being pushed out. There's like sharks. Sharks, what they call the strike zone. You drift so far out there, you move into what's called the strike zone, which sharks going to strike you. Not saying that he will. Like the cheat zone, when you float out there, don't mean that you will, but now you the potential to do that. But why am I out here? How did I get to the cheat zone? Because
emotional relationship is way worse than physical.
Come on.
Like, you ain't gotta touch me. You got my mind.
Come on. Come on.
It happens.
And I always been a mind dude. I always mess with that. Because that's what the power. From a kid, I knew that the control of the mind. I just knew that what the power was. So you mess with these minds and repetitions, but I want to go somewhere with you. So now you're empowering women, right? And you pulling from mistakes from the past. Let me be careful how I say it. Does it feel good that I was able to take some of that pain and boom, now I'm empowering other people because of my mistakes? So when somebody call you, say thank you, I appreciate you. That because of you, but then you had to go through that pain. But does it make it? The question is, does it make it worth it now that you've been able to empower other people?
Absolutely. I didn't understand it in the beginning. I didn't even want to write the book. My mentor approached me, and she was like, "Ooh, you've been through." Like, I met her right when I lost my mom, so she know everything that I've been through, and she was like, I'm putting this group together. She's the founder of the Fearless Storytellers.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'm putting this group of women together, and you have a story to tell. It will help so many women. I'm like, girl, bye. Like, no.
It's my business. I ain't telling my business.
Yeah, like, no, like my family don't even know this stuff. My daddy, stuff he don't know.
Yeah, he might run down on. My daddy might run down on.
Yeah, it's like, no.
That's your daddy don't know. No, I can't put that out there.
But you know who pushed me to do it?
Who that? Huh?
And baby, you have a story to tell. Don't be embarrassed about it. And I believe God is speaking to her, to you through her.
Her fiance, she said.
Oh, that's powerful.
Brian, my fiance Brian, he told me, he said, baby, write the book. It's your story. You don't understand how many women that you're going to help. God is going to use you. He's going to use your voice. And I'm like, okay. And because of him encouraging me, I wrote the book. Because he encouraged me, I went back to school and got my degree. Because he encouraged me, I'm a Christian counselor and a life coach. He better me.
His name is Brian, right?
Hey, you tell your fiance,
Brian,
I honor him. I tell him I honor him.
Yeah, for sure.
Any man allow push a woman to tell that personal part about her life. That's a man. Trust me, I have to honor him. Most men say, okay, it's all cool with me. We still together, but we ain't going to put that out there. You know what I'm saying? We just keep that between us, and life is beautiful. But with somebody, that's powerful. I honor him. I never met him, but I honor him.
Because if he tells her to tell that story, he has to live that truth now too. Every time he goes somewhere, and a lot of men are not confident enough to do that.
That's my point.
You know that your woman has been through a traumatizing experience like that, and people, oh, you married the girl that happened to. Like, right? A lot of men not built for that. Right. So you definitely got to
salute him, College. That's why I got to salute him.
For sure.
Wow. He powerful.
After the times I, act the fool, he broke with me like 3 times. My grandma's like, I don't know what you did, but whatever you do, you better get him back. Well, I went about a big old.
We already know.
Everything, left it at his door. I was gonna do what's that movie with in the rain with the boom box thing. Listen, I wrote a whole letter. I did a book and had it made at Home Depot and left it at his door. Baby, I'm sorry. Listen,
we already can tell you spicy though, so we already know he got it.
He just laughed every time. He just bust out laughing. I'm like, ain't that funny?
Is he's older than you or same age?
He's a year older than me.
Okay, you didn't go out there this time. You learned last time.
Y'all went to high school together. Yeah, y'all went to high school together. Yeah, you know. Yeah, it's cool. That works. Them relationships to be 10, 15 years older than y'all, I'd be weary of them. I'd be like, at least let the woman becoming like 25 and be an actual full adult. You know, you still a teenager technically at 19 years old. You know, so. But yeah,
I say he's the total opposite of what I normally would go for. But God gave me what I needed, not what I wanted. And I was rejected in the beginning. But then I couldn't reject it no more. Like,
yeah, we're going to call him Brian. We're going to call out his name. Praise God.
Praise God. I found happiness after divorce. God will see you through. And that's
definitely.
Yes, Lord. Yes, he will. You just trust God and believe. And in the midst of waiting on God, work on yourself. Hurt people.
Yes.
Hurt people and hurting people.
V, you got a story for us too?
Oh, I like that.
You got a story for us, V?
Hmm?
You got a story for us, life after divorce, and what comes next? What you got to show us? What you got? What you got, V? What you got, V?
Yeah, she got a chapter to write on that.
There we go. Let's start talking about this next book coming out.
Smiling for nothing.
Look, we're gonna call the next book After the Pain. After the Pain.
I'm a survivor.
Listen, I have a beautiful story, and I'm just as Daddy told me, just enjoy my journey. Life after divorce. Again, for me, it was I took a lot of time, even now, taking a lot of time with myself, honoring myself, taking myself out to eat, loving on myself. Even when I started dating, and I started seeing, like, I had, like Shonna say, trigger words. There was things that triggered me. And so when I started to being triggered, and my brother Collis, they was having a round table with me in the green room one night after the show. And it really brought me to a full circle of myself when he said, really, your issue ain't even with him, V. He was like, Collis said, you're actually taking him through what others. I forgot exactly how he said it.
You're having conversations that ain't for him. Like, it's not, you're having a conversation you're supposed to have with him, with your new person. And that new person don't understand where this is coming from. But basically everything that you should have said over there, you're now saying to him. So it's like, it's the conversation for the wrong person, but it's a conversation that you need to have. And that person just needs to understand and know that that's what you're doing, you know? So we don't respond to it. I don't need to respond to something emotionally that ain't really got nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? They be like, and I can't stand the way you leave the peanut butter on the knife. I'd be like, but I don't even do that. What's she talking about? That ain't even me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
or you have learned behavior. Like for me, everything that I complained about with him.
Oh, that. Listen.
Oh wow.
That always
that's
happens.
good.
You become the person who hurts you the most.
The victim become the perpetrator.
And that's what ended up happening, you know. And so when Collis had a conversation with him, he was like, V, you need to stop friend. Either you like him, you don't. Either you love him, you don't. You don't want to take him through stuff that you wanted to take your ex through and carry him through it. And I realized that it was a lot of things that I was doing
because
that I should have done to my ex-husband, but was doing to him. And then I was like, Dad. And then it was like, once I came to the place of humility, that's the word.
Yeah.
The place of humility is more like, I don't know if this real or not.
Victoria definitely did the same thing you were doing. I told her that same thing, exact thing. I said, you becoming the person that hurt you the most. And the reason why I know that is because from personal experience, my wife wrote a book. And after I read her book, we started encountering different things, and she was doing some of the same stuff in her book that was done to her. She was trying to pull that on me, and I would call her on it, like, yo, like, that's the same such and such would do. Yo, I ain't him, I ain't that, yo.
Ooh, he did the same thing.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
And that was the thing.
So you know what? I'm done. Fix you, and then hit me up.
And it's funny that you say that, Shonna, because I got the same thing, and he was just telling me, he was like, listen, you know, you're a beautiful person. He said, but he was like, but you nasty as hell. Your attitude is nasty. He was like, and I was like,
we got a voice now, okay?
But it comes from nowhere.
Said, well, what?
It comes from, it don't have to be triggered sometimes. It just comes, and you be like, but we were just chilling, having smoothies though. Like, how did you get here? You know,
it be that one thing.
That one little thing. Oh, you speak too loud.
That's how the spirit works though. Like they impart a spirit in you, and then you take that with you somewhere else, and you cast it off to somebody else, and the other person has to be strong enough to rebuke that spirit. Because I rebuke my wife's spirit when she come with that nonsense. I'm gonna tell you about that. I ain't listening to none of that. You ain't pulling none of that.
And that's the thing, you know, he would turn around and he'll be like, really? Yeah, I know you're not doing this right now. And it'll be funny. And my dad, I'll be laughing at my dad, because my dad, he could tell, you know, because we got a group chat going, and me and Dad be talking, and Daddy can see when I shift. And I can see when I shift. You know, I'm talking.
Yeah. The hawk come out, the beast come out. You be like,
I know my daughter.
This is what I have to do with her, right? This is what she was going wrong. And a lot of women happens this right here. And it happens to a lot of women. That's why I asked you about your pain. You come to the realization, you know what? Nobody is going to never hurt me again. So once you become like that, then you become the dominator. I don't care about your feelings, nobody. You ain't gonna hurt me, and you become the dominator. I don't care what they feel. I don't care what they say. Why? Because that's your way of protecting you
protecting
now.
Your heart.
But guess what? But that's a dangerous way.
It's very
dangerous.
dangerous.
Now you have no sympathy for nobody else, and you just, I don't care what they think. I'm free. I'm good. Hey, I'm just gonna be me. I don't care if they don't like it. Oh well, then I keep moving on. I'm happy being by myself.
Yeah, that's what you tell yourself.
Exactly. I had to call on that, like, hey, whoa, you know, you too free.
Okay, come on, now. You
gotta think about people's feelings.
I think that's what they was telling me, that I was too liberated. You too free. We understand you no longer on mute. And I was mad, you know, Collins, he's my college friend, you know, and Collins had to pull me in. And Collins said, listen, you done got too liberated with that mouth, V. You need to pull me in. I was like, And so what I would do, Shonna, is that no, we're not doing that. I will read you from head to toe. And I don't care what you guys say about it. And then the crazy part about it was, if I'm texting real fast, or I'm saying different stuff, he'll say, I need you to go back and reread all the messages that you just sent me. I said one word and you done went left. And all I said was, you need to check that. The fact that you're able to say that I need to check that, I just was like, you ain't checking me. And he would be like, you know what? He said, goodbye, Victoria. Goodbye. And I was like, I said, don't nobody say goodbye to me. I'm the one in this. I say goodbye.
I ain't do all that back. I just shut down and don't say nothing. Just look at you.
But that's the problem with being abused and oppressed and, you know, taken advantage of. You like I said, you're not gonna do that no more. You're gonna strike first. But sometimes you strike somebody that ain't even trying to strike you. They just came to give you a hug. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of like when you're defending yourself and you always like this.
Yeah.
You can't see nothing in front of you to let nothing in. So you're doing this, but you got to put it down to get here to see this. So like, defending yourself is good, but what are you defending yourself from sometimes? You defending yourself from hurt, but you ain't opening up to love neither. Love can't get in neither.
That's good, Carlos. That's good.
I always say God had to break your heart to save your life.
Yeah, that's real.
I like that. Say that again.
I thank the Lord for breaking my heart to save my life.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's good. I like that.
And that's what ended up happening. And when Collins gave me this reality, and Shonna was on Clubhouse, I mean, I be dropping in on her conversations when she be having them. And I find it amazing because, like, with me, you know, a lot of people ask the reason. Like, again, how did you get out of it? Like, why? Like, what made you get out? And I'd be like,
it wasn't easy.
you have no idea. It took courage. It took a lot of courage. It took a lot of strength. Like, when
even after you do it, you still say, did I make a mistake? Oh my God, did I make a mistake? What am I gonna do? I haven't been by myself in 13 years.
Yeah, and then it's also a child involved in your situation too.
Yeah,
so
like, absolutely.
And it was
the fear of being alone again. And that's when I started realizing, and Shonna said this one time on Clubhouse like a couple weeks ago. She was telling women it's okay to be by yourself.
Absolutely.
It's okay because she was talking about she was saying like how she knew certain women who could never be by themselves. Like they had to have a man.
Right.
They had to have somebody. And I was one of those women
that's bad.
that had to have someone because I wasn't used to being able to be by myself. And it was crazy because I had to ask some of my mentees a question. I said, would you date you? Because some people can't date themselves. They got to go date somebody else. But if you can date you, then you can be alone.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. I could not date me. I didn't know how, but I could, be involved somebody else been in my world. But when I started to learn to date me, I was like, I'm a cool person.
Because many times, us as women, when you're married or in a relationship for a long time, you neglect yourself. And you all about that person. And you're not even realizing it. I neglected myself for my husband. I neglected myself for my family. I'm talking about mom, dad, siblings. I did everything for everybody, and I was left in the back.
I did that though. Yeah, on the respirator.
And that was the thing, just being in it. And Shonna, I respect you so much, and I honor you so much because of the courage that you have. And I love the fact that Shonna tells the truth, whether you her sister, a friend, a family member, she don't care. If she said, girl, you just need to get somewhere and sit down somewhere, close your legs, be quiet, and just have a seat and have several of
just
them.
talking, you ain't gonna do nothing. Like I know, because I did.
And we need that. We need women like Shonna.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a lot of women want to tell you what they're going through. They're not ready to do nothing about it. For sure, they just want somebody to listen.
Want to call you on the phone 2-3 hours. You know what the decision is. Like,
I always talk about women though, because women are more willing to listen without giving you like something to do after. Like you tell me something you're going through, I'm sensing what we're going to do next. But sometimes what I've learned from women is that they don't want to know a resolution of what to do next. They just want somebody to listen to them. Right. I ain't good at that. I like to do something. I'm in the problem stage.
We don't believe the same. We had a big argument, a disagreement, and I'm just done. I'm this, I'm that, and he don't even believe in God like I do. We had a whole career plan together, and I was like, what you got to do? When you go home, he gonna put that meat on you, and you gonna forget everything. You gonna came the next day, we good. I was like, I told you.
Shonna, you said that in the at the conference. Conference was like Shonna said I was dickmatized. She's like, and I was like, oh my God.
It's the truth. How many women stay in a relationship because of that?
Right, because that's all they know. And two, I want to add this in here. Now, when we talk about these situations, each person is different. I got to make sure I put that in there, because as a marriage counselor, as a pastor who counsel people in marriages and stuff, each situation is different. You have to make sure that God is leading you in these situations. One shoe don't fit all. For one that may have to jump out the airplane, the other one may have to ride the airplane, on a little bit further. So as always, and you said it earlier, we give you the overview, but at the end of the day, you got to let God, because understand it's a covenant. You made a covenant, not to me, not to anybody, but to God. Y'all make this covenant before God. So you have to make sure that what make one leave, God may want another to stay. You know, we never know why He wanna be put in that situation. So you have to be very, when it comes to situations like that, I tiptoe very
That's smart.
carefully in the advice that I give people in that area. So I always tiptoe. I don't know, y'all know what I mean? You have to be, you know, that's a
because it's not a one size fit all. It's not a one size fit all.
It's not. Yeah, you gotta be even with my mentees, and I tell them, you know, certain questions they ask me, I give them homework.
Yes.
Because I give them the work to do. I'm not going to answer this for you. I'm gonna give you the work.
I like that, dog.
Many want you to. I need you to pray. No, baby, you go to God for yourself. That's it's religion, relationship, baby. It's all about the relationship. Okay, God, you and God. What God may tell you may be totally different from what He tell me.
Yeah,
it may not make sense to you, but it make perfect sense to me. Period. You have to stay before God. That's the only way you gonna experience life after divorce, period, and not become a bitter woman, but a better woman. It's only through God, the Holy Spirit. He have to lead and guide you no matter what. You try it on your own. We get in our emotions and make emotional decisions, and it makes us look like an ass. Repent to God. God, forgive me, help me, my mind, my heart, cleanse it. Because we be jacked up. But when God come in and clean you up and you get before Him and not just pray, but fast as well.
Yes.
Renew your, he'll give you a whole new heart, a whole new mindset. You won't even recognize your own self.
That's good.
And I sure did, because one day I woke up, Shonna, I didn't even recognize me. And I was like, this is her. This is the girl that, this is her. This is the one that I've been lost. This one. And now she's back. Now she's found. And I'm starting to see God transform me. Back into how He wants me to be, into how He wants me to be. You know what I'm saying? How He has really transformed me. And I've noticed how my talk has changed, how my look has changed. You know, it's a lot about me that has changed. And I was just like, oh, I like her. Because the woman that I was before, I didn't like. I was just, oh, you know, I'm just going on with the flow, whatever. Like now, this point, I don't go with the flow with stuff. If it don't sound right, and if it stank, it stank. And I just deal with the whole, you know, I don't sugarcoat anything. I don't try to put a lid on it. You know, I don't do any of that. And so a lot of us, even with Shonna, the reason why she's able to be the successful businesswoman she is, she took the initiative to put in the work of her life.
Absolutely.
And every day we got to look at it like this. There is homework about you that you have to do for you every single day. At the end of the day, you should be able to do a review. At the end of the day, you should be able to self-evaluate yourself in the
challenge yourself
you had, and really analyze yourself and what you could be tomorrow, how you can be better tomorrow. And so it leads me to this part of it. Shonna, give us a few do's of life after divorce. A few do's. So what are those few do's that a man or woman should do after divorce for their life?
Take time to heal.
Yes.
Take time, self-care. I don't care what it is. Pick one thing that you love to do for yourself. Self-care is so important. Take care of yourself. Pray and develop a closer relationship with God. Be in a position where you don't just pray, but you hear His voice. Pray the problem, not just the solution. Pray the solution, not just the problem. Because many times we pray, when you gonna start thanking God for what He doing already? Like you being ungrateful. Thank God for a peace of mind. Period. Protect your peace at all costs. Sometimes you have to eliminate the distractions.
Wow.
And the main distraction, social media, cell phone, which I call the heliphone. Stop talking to people and talk to God.
Good.
Period.
Do you got any more dudes?
Read. I read a lot of a lot of inspiring books. The main one was Joyce Meyer's Battlefield of the Mind. Another was Joyce Meyer's Living Beyond Your Feelings. And another was Sarah Jakes. Not Lost but Found, but the other one. I forgot the name of it, but it's really good. The main one that I think you touched on it earlier, but I don't think you know it was a book. It's called What It's Like to Be Married to Me. It's so deep. Yeah.
That's good.
It's deep. Many things that we do and we act, we don't even have knowledge of it. So it's like, really, you living a lie. Be honest with yourself. And hold yourself accountable for your actions. The thing is, a lot of people do not hold themselves accountable. They always point the finger and never acknowledging, well, I did this, so this what made him do that. Not excusing what the man or woman do, but you had a part to play in it too. So
and that is Miss Nita. That is Collis, his wife, Miss Bonita Bolton.
Yes, it's a great book.
And she's also a life coach as well as an author. So.
Yes. Connect with some empowering other women that will hold you accountable. Accountability partners is so important.
That's good.
I'm connected and I'm involved in a lot of mentor programs and like-minded individuals. I don't entertain drama and I don't allow people to bring it to me neither. Because why I say that? Because I know me. I take on people's problems. And it bothers me. So in my mind, I had to learn, I'm going to listen and I will guide you. But at the end of the day, I leave it at God's feet because that baby ain't mine. You have to learn that a lot of us, we have a heart and we love hard. We want to see people make it. You want to see people win and you take on their issues. You take on their problems. Not saying don't listen, but you can't do no more than God allow. You know, He is the main one. God can do any and everything. If He don't allow it, it's a reason behind it. So we are not God. We can tend to, try to help everybody, and then we portray like we God, not knowing that you're doing it, and God would allow something to happen. And a lot of times in ministry, especially with us, we tend to take assignments and make them friends when God didn't even tell you to do that. Assignment is assignment. Friendship is friendship. But take accountability, do something for yourself. Most of our women know who you are. Know who you are. Do you know who you are? Because if you knew who you was, certain things you wouldn't allow to happen. Certain things you wouldn't take on, you wouldn't deal with. Period.
Absolutely.
It's always good to have a great spiritual advisor. Read the word for yourself. The Bible says, study, show yourself, people can lie and try to justify scripture.
They don't work.
You're single but available through Christ. What you mean by that?
I think she was saying something when
accountability. You're single. Accountability. You're single. But available through Christ. So yeah, I guess Christ give you your accountability. So I guess that's what she's saying.
Yes. And Shonna, what are the don'ts to life after divorce?
Don't lie to yourself. Don't allow yourself to be tricked by the enemy by allowing other people. Because this is the thing, a lot of people, it's good for advice and learning, other people's testimonies. But like Doctor said earlier, I'm sorry, what's your name?
Daryl.
Dr. Daryl said, everybody's situation is different. a lot of us try to pattern our relationship based on that was my experience. I decided to stay just because my outcome is this. I went from homeless to have my own home and paying a 2-story house. That's how the way God did it for me. That he may not do the same for you. He may go bigger or he may do smaller. That's why it's important to have a relationship with God and not compare yourself to anybody. Expect what God has for you. I love my mentor. I love my dad. I love everybody that I'm surrounded with. I love their advice, but at the end of the day, I respect what they say, but I still go to God on my own behavior.
Amen.
It's important, especially now in these last and evil days. The enemy, he's as a roaring lion, and he will come to you, and you would think you winning, and really, you just, if you didn't have a prayer life, and you get tricky.
You better tell them, Shonna.
I'm telling you, and he makes it look so good and sound so good. Whatever he said to you, I'm telling you, baby, listen. And even if you fall, get back up again. Okay? Don't be so hard on yourself. Give yourself grace. Give yourself time, but don't stay there.
Come on.
Don't stay there.
And I believe,
so you know what, life will pass you by. 10 years later, you still stuck. And that man and woman that moved around.
And you got a lot of people Shonna, who still like that.
I love my grandmother, and she already heard me say this testimony. I love her, no disrespect. My grandma was with my grandpa. My grandpa met him at 13 years old, had a baby, 4 kids, married for a long time. And to make a long story short, they divorced. My grandma never remarried. And before he killed himself years ago, he started trying to date her again, and she was super happy. Wow. And my auntie was like, "You waited on him all these years?" My grandma said, "And if I did, so what?" And I'm looking at her like, the devil is a lie. That would not be me. No, she all her life, because that's the only man that she been with. She was a virgin. That's her fault. The children of her. Her father's children. In her mind, listen, that's what I want. I always tell people, the heart want what it want, okay? But listen, Lord, don't let me be a fool, Lord. That's what pride is. It's hard. If you want something, you're going to do whatever it takes. Even if it's at the expense of you.
Exactly.
Do that. Well, Lord, I don't want to be like that, Lord. That's a long time.
It is. That's it. And you have some family, I know family members right now to this day that has done that, and I'm like, no, I just can't. I've been in those situations, but this is what I want people to point. I want people to get after all that Shonna has said tonight, is that you got to listen. My number one weakness was that I did not listen. Number one weakness. And what I did was I made it to become a strength. It was a weakness. So your weak place is life after divorce, or any part of your life. Because you also got to look at divorce as not even just your marriage. You may have divorced your job. You may have divorced your relationship with someone, a long-term friendship. You may have divorced a business deal, whatever. At the end of the day, look at your weakness in that and make it a strength. And when you make it a strength, you can overcome anything. To have the courage to walk away, and because divorce is death. Divorce is death. Like, it's like a whole funeral, and it's like you having to plan that thing out and having to figure out how this gonna be, how that's gonna be, who gonna get this, who gonna get that. That's how I see divorce. Do I want to go through another divorce again? No, I will not. And those of you, Collis, I salute you, because you stepped up to the plate, because I never thought you were going to get married, because just how you were, he was just so mean. You know, he was so mean. He was so sarcastic. And I couldn't stand him in school sometimes. And then he'd be like, yo, V. I'd be like, here go this New Yorker. Will you get somewhere and sit down? I couldn't stand New Yorkers. I couldn't stand them because they be so cocky, so prideful. I was like, well, you need to come down here and humble yourself for a little bit. Come down here.
That's that J Cincinnati Red Josh all us. We had that thing about it.
Y'all had that thing, and I hated it. I was like, I hated New York. I would never marry a New Yorker because y'all too proud. Y'all be done got shot.
But I think I'm still mean. No, I'm just nice to people.
Yeah, you mean. You still mean. I'm praying for Bonita. Y'all name on my prayer wall because I'm praying for y'all. Because y'all, you know, Collins is mean. He mean. He's sarcastic too. But he's very direct and truthful. I can give him that. He's very direct and truthful. But listen, I want people to be able to listen. If you ain't heard nothing else on this live from what Shonna said, listen to what she said. She's been through it. She's experienced it. She was in her marriage for 11 years or 14 years or 14 13 years. She was in there 13 years. And then after that, she took time away so that she could begin to work on herself, love on herself, do the things that she didn't get to do at 19. I mean, you got to think about it. She was 19 years old, guys. Those of you who are watching on YouTube and Periscope and Twitter, she look what her life was like, you know, and then she doesn't have any kids. Very seldom you see women her age in their 30s don't have no kids. You know, look at her. Oh my God, look. And, you know, it's a lot. You can really take it into play here. You got people who've been married twice. You got people who have been through. Going to have to leave in a few. Daddy dudes. She I understand, Collins. I really do. So if you got drop out, that's fine. We can really wrap it up. But this is what I want y'all to really understand on YouTube and all of these other platforms. Get Shonna's book, order her book, support her. Those of you who are on here, her website, I did post it onto the Facebook onto the thread. I need you guys to look. Those of you who are on here, this is your moment and your time here to sow. You definitely can sow. Cash App $ no longer on mute to keep our broadcast going, to keep things happening for us, because we really got some great things going, and it takes money to do the stuff that we're doing, and it's not an easy thing. I don't want y'all to think that. To keep our StreamYard going, we pay that every month to keep it going, to be able to invite people on platforms and that sort of thing, because this is their time. And so I just need you all to be able to chip in and help in as much as you can, because I don't want to be where we on the red carpet and y'all feel left out, because we already out there. We chilling, and we, you know, as I say, high profiling and styling. But we want to be able to keep this type of conversation going, because we deal with it. And some people send me inboxes and be like, you need to deal with this, you need to deal with it. In some conversation, I'll be like, that ain't what the Lord is telling me. I pray before I bring this person on my platform. I pray. After the last incident I had, and I thought it was going to go the way that I went, I make sure I double check. I got to double check with Jesus and what he wants the topic to be. And Shonna book was the topic for tonight. And so those of you, again, go support Shonna. Cash App us, no longer on mute. And I'm telling you, Shonna, you can go find her on her. She has a webpage, www.shonnastoot.com. You can also find her on Facebook. She's a life coach. She is an author. She can help you get your whole life together and some. And she will tell you, okay, make sure you know that real quick. So when she says it to you, don't take offense. Just be open to what she has to say, as well as we got Professor Collins. He's gonna catch it after a while, because I'm prophesying some stuff in his life. And so Collins, listen, I just feel like I want to say this to you. you really have to look into doing some relationship therapy, looking at some more YouTube relationship expert, that type of thing, because you're so good at it.
Yes.
And you actually can have a school. It was funny how I started seeing stuff with you and Bonita. I know y'all trying to do real estate and all that, but you can start a house, a miniature school in your house on how to help families. Even though y'all newly married, that doesn't take away from it. But you are expert with helping women, because you helped transform my life to be better in
thank
my
you,
relationship and in my, you know what I'm saying? You've helped me.
Come on, she's showing all them teeth.
Listen, as I'm showing my teeth, I'm being checked on, you know,
that's
and
what I'm talking about.
Huh? What you said?
We put that thing back together. That's what I'm talking about. You know,
I gotta show all my teeth. You know, I got to, because I'm telling you, it's
Shonna, she was cutting up on him one day. Now she's cutting up loud on air, cutting all up.
What Tia say? Y'all, there go Tia. That's my girl. That's my big sister. Whenever I'm not able to join and be able to jump on, Tia is the person I can rely on. Divorce was serious for me. I was, and I'm not doing it twice. He better jump out a window. That's the only way. Tia. And she said we have to get all we have to from this assignment as a single in this assignment. We aren't to be idle. Absolutely. So we love college. He had to drop out. And so, yes, we want to make sure we get all this information, because we don't want to be a situation. I want to be like Shonna one day and be like, and be out there. That's
but if I ain't do the work, because I did the work, I got it. Okay.
Cause Shonna knows she's the only person that know how to do it, and she. But I don't know, Shonna. You did it on social media. I doubt I put mine on social media. It just want to do it. Yeah, I just be done popped up, and I be done been married for about 2-3 years. There, everybody say, "Oh, they're gonna boo," and his heart be in front of his face.
My family, we dated, my now fiance, we dated 8 months before I even told my family about him. They didn't know about him.
Wow.
I learned my lesson the first time.
And at least you waited, you know. That's the thing.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's what Daddy was saying with talking to other couples and stuff. You gotta wait before you start publicizing things.
Absolutely. People pray at you for real. And I ain't talking about P-R-A-Y. P-R-E-Y.
Yes, but not P-R.
P-R-E-Y. Yeah.
Well, Shonna, we love you so much. Is there anything you want to say to the people?
Just continue to be encouraged. Continue to love on yourself. Talk to God. Develop that relationship. Let Him lead and guide you, and you will never go wrong. There is life after divorce. We are great examples. Listen, God will turn that frown into a smile. Was it easy? No. But like she said, you have to do the work. Okay? You're going to cry. You're going to shout, scream, do whatever. It is okay not to be okay. It's okay. It's okay. You're going to have moments over time where you come and go. It's okay. It's normal. But that's what we have God. And I thank God for Him. Okay? Tell you will never go wrong. And that's why it's important to connect with other strong women who've been through what you are going through. That's out. Listen, there's sunshine after the rain. Okay? You can smile again. You can love again. You can trust again. Only God can do it. Let Him do it.
And when Shonna said that last year, I was like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Everything was, I don't know about that. Because again, I was protecting myself and guarding myself, and still is, still guarding myself, still protecting myself, because I have found my safe place in God. And once you find your safe place in God, that's what secures me. That's what's holding, that's what keeps me, because I know where my secure place is. And some people don't know their secure place is in God. So if somebody choose to walk away, or they choose not to deal with you no more, they choose to break up with you, you are able to have that security blanket in God. Yes, it may just be disappointing at first, but if you know you're wrapped up in God, I'm wrapped up in God. I can honestly say that.
They'll tell you you don't have to be too deep. It's too deep. We've been there. You don't want to hear scripture. You don't want to hear about the preaching or teaching, none of that. You don't want to hear that. But I'm telling you, when you let go and let God in, He gives peace that surpasses I don't understand you.
Come on, girl. Don't you get up here and preach now. No, do it.
I was there. I was like, man, don't preach to me. I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to listen to no church music. I was listening to Keisha Cole. It came great. I mean, not Keisha Cole. What's her name? Kelly.
K. Michelle.
Can't raise the man.
My playlist was lit with K. Michelle and being a rebel. I sure was. I was listening to K. Michelle. I was being a rebel.
I let go and let God. I started listening to Fantasia. It was necessary.
Yep. And that's what broke me one day in the car. I was crying. And next thing you know, I was at the Shonna, I was on the steering wheel and I was holding that steering wheel. I was like, oh my gosh, it was necessary.
It hurt me, but it helped me.
It hurt me, but it helped me. Come on. Don't do this to me because I've been started to break out shouting. Shonna, thank you so much, Lord. She does.
Yeah.
So it can shift at any given moment. But I'm telling you, I'm so grateful, Shonna, for you taking the time out of your busy schedule to come join in on the Let's Deal with It talk show with myself and my co-host. And so we will talk soon after. I love you so much.
And thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Daddy, what you got?
Hey, great show. Thank you for coming on. Marriage counseling, seek marriage counseling, pre-marriage counseling, doing marriage counseling. I'm a marriage counselor, and guess what? I go to marriage counseling. Once a year, we call a tune-up. It's needed. Jobs like jobs. You have to keep getting updated, keep getting certified. Why is it that people don't think that your marriage need to be keep getting certified each and every year? So seek that stuff. It helps.
We're in marriage counseling now as we speak.
Awesome.
With something I didn't do the first time. He didn't want to do it. The ex was totally against. But that's why I tell anybody, like he said, marriage counseling.
And that was another red flag for me too, as well. We started out, and then he was like, we ain't doing it. Ain't nobody gonna tell us about our marriage. And I
know man tell me whether I'm man like him.
That's wrong. That's ignorance, and that's definitely saying that this person does not want to. And that's why I love it when my dad and Mama Kathy, they go to marriage conferences and they do things together to become better. Even though they've been married for over 20-some years, being together for a long time. I just find it. Daddy, you and Mama been how long?
Yeah, she's my first girlfriend in 6th grade, so I've known her for Lord, forever. I've known her forever. And that's the marriage counseling thing. Whenever a man does not want to humble himself to go and learn better, that should be a red flag right there in the beginning. One thing about the chaplain who counseled us, he tell me all the time, he say, I respect you so much that you will humble yourself to come and listen. But he sees stuff that I don't see. Even though I may counsel other people, I still got blind spots in my life also. It's still stuff in me that I need help on. So once a year, it's a tune-up. It's so beautiful. It gives you tools. That's what it does. I heard you say this by doing the homework. Marriage counseling give you tools for you to do the homework that you need to go and do to make your marriage work, because marriage is work and you need tools to do work.
Yes.
So it's beautiful. So I love it. I thank you. Great show, daughter. Great show.
Yes, awesome.
Keep up. Yes, Daddy, you gonna have to we gotta get Shonna down there to Florida, cause get her on some of that traveling water down there.
Oh yeah.
And, for the women's empowerment and those types of things. Shonna is a great spokesman, and I like the fact that she's herself. She don't try to be doing all that extra. She just be herself, and that's what really helps when we are ourselves and we can be true and authentic. And Shonna, I can tell you some stuff my daddy be saying to me sometimes. I be like, "Ugh, daddy, you just be doing too much. You be doing the most."
Yeah, that's a word, doing the most.
He be doing, we call it the Bentley, doing the most. One of my babies, Bentley, he be doing the most. I be like, listen, y'all be doing the most. So, but it's necessary. So that's why I'm able to be in a season now where I listen. When you send me those text messages and for me to jump onto those conversations, just listen. You know, I don't be want to be a speaker. I just be wanting to listen in. Because I'm still in the posture of receiving. I'm still still receiving, still being a student, because I just love being a student more so being a teacher. But I know when to activate it. But continue sending me those clubhouse. I be listening, especially the morning motivation with I think her name Donna, Adriana, yes, Ariana. I think it's her name. Awesome. So I just love it. I appreciate you so much. Again, I can't thank you enough for coming into my life because I never thought I could really have female friends because I've always had vendettas with female friends. Well, not me, but they always had a vendetta with me.
We don't compete. I don't compete with nobody. We complete each other. We like-minded individuals. I push you just as much as I desire for you to push me.
Yes.
When you don't get that, it's time to go step away. You can't allow that in your space.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. Well, I love you. I thank y'all so much for jumping in and joining in the conversation. That's my daddy, y'all. I be telling that's my daddy.
Yeah, you can't share.
I don't be sharing, Shonna. I know, Shonna. I know. But y'all, thank you so much again for joining. Let's Deal with a Talk Show. We got some great conversation coming up for next week. And so join in on the conversation. I will not be hosting the show. Collis will be hosting the show for next week. So Collis, make sure you join in and jump in because I will be on Shonna's, her best friend's prayer call on prayer on Facebook Live at 7:30 p.m. So I will be on her Facebook Live. I'm super excited about that when women pray. And so those of you follow me, go over there. Once you get off the show with Collis and the guys. And so it'll be wonderful. It'll be wonderful. So until next time, we will deal with it. Be blessed. Right. Have a great night.
All right. Peace.